EMS week. I hope you're all having some type of celebration, and if nothing else, be very, very happy that you're part of a good group providing quality care in the Finger Lakes, and we all thank you and appreciate you for that. We're going to have a fairly short meeting today because the state meetings are not till next week, so I've got nothing to report as far as that goes. And we have several of us that have to get out at a fairly early time and get to Canandaigua as we're doing RSI testing for our recent RSI students. So some of us will have continued interaction throughout the day. So call to order, and if anyone would be willing to approve the minutes from March 16th, I'd be looking for a motion and a second.
Motion.
Anyone second? Did anyone have a chance to look at them? Any changes, anything? Second from someone, just to be official? I heard that. That's good. Standing reports, program agency coordinator.
So continue with all the meetings with the bureau staff. The main focus of late has been converting our BLSFRs and anyone who is not charting electronically to the electronic system that's being provided free of charge to those providers by the state. We are almost all the way through, have a few agencies left to bring on board, and then predominantly we are all documenting electronically. Our final transporting service is set to come on board in the next month or so, like charting electronically, and then all of our transporting ambulances will be on board electronic. We are going to offer a BLS. It's called the Fundamentals of Airway Management. It's the BLS version or the intermediate version of the difficult airway class. We're going to offer that here at the Geneva campus on June 3rd. And on June 10th, we're going to do 4 hours each evening and try to get it in before the graduation season commences upon us for the high schools. So far, we've had about 4 people register. There's a cost of $40 per participant. Thompson Health is going to be offering an educational opportunity dealing mainly with the EMS mental health and burnout. That's going to be presented on June 10th at 8:30 in the morning, running for about an hour, and that is via Zoom. If Nancy Church is the contact for registering for that. And Nancy, if you can just put in the chat box, your email, that would be great. If somebody, I've sent this out to everybody, but if somebody needs your email again, if you can just throw that in there.
I'll be sending it out to everybody again, but I will do that in the chat box.
Okay, thanks. And that's pretty much it for right now.
Nancy, are you going to be able to give John or I a list after that? Because that is one of the requirements for their continuing education is the mental health of the EMS provider.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
And Jack, if we can just get a motion from the docs, and so we can just get that approved for continuing education for anyone that attends.
All right. Well, I'm happy to make the motion that we support this educational process with the CME. Any discussion? If not, I would look for a second.
Second.
All right. Is there anyone opposed? All right, so I think that passes, John.
Thank you.
You good?
I'm good.
All right, Donna, you're up.
Well, we did the difficult airway class this weekend with Dr. David Off and Dr. Glick assisting. Do you have any comments on that, Jack? I guess it went okay.
I think it went well. It's a tough class. There's a lot of material in a very short period of time. We're just throwing stuff at them. I'm wondering if in the future, if we could maybe break up the lectures a little bit more with some lab time, just get them off of their seats and just to, get rid of some of the carbon dioxide that builds up in their systems. I think the first day is just killer. If we could maybe split it up a little bit, it might be a little bit easier on those guys. I'm not sure. Just a thought.
Yeah, I know we've run into that before where they've said it's either the first day is a long day.
Oh,
And again, it just depends on how many there are and different things like that. But yeah, no, that'll be looked at.
I think my lactic acid at the end of day one was elevated. So
When I took that class years ago in Virginia, they did lecture, lab, and it made it go pretty smoothly.
yeah, I think that might be something to think about the next time we run it. Other than that, it's a great class. I mean, it's up-to-date information. The guys that have run that, Mike Murphy, Darren Brody, those are really Ron Walls and a little bit past now, but those are some of the best guys in airway management. Ron's been doing airway management since I was not even a basic EMT, and it's a good class. There's good information there, but a lot of stuff to be thrown in 2 days.
And then obviously these kids that we did this weekend will be doing their practical on June 5th. And then the junior paramedics will now become the senior paramedics until January. And they'll be coming back after Memorial Day for cardiology for the summer. And then spring classes are winding down. We've got some that are testing out, some tested out a couple of weeks ago, some are testing out in June. And then we have our June classes that are up. Looks like we will have an original during the daytime in Geneva that's going to be full. And then we're working now on fall classes for to see where they're going to be placed in that.
I was very afraid we were going to be short of people applying with COVID. I'm happy to hear that that's not necessarily the case.
Doesn't seem to be.
Good. Because we're going to need some fresh blood.
So.
You got anything else, Donna?
No, just that I'm off to see Dr. Klein to see if I can get rid of my extra shoulders thing here.
Keep our fingers crossed for you.
No kidding, thank God.
All right. Well, folks, first of all, I want to thank everyone for all they do, especially during EMS week, and happy EMS week again. Everyone from hospital administrators down to the housekeepers, everyone in the hospitals that helps interact with EMS, all deserve a thank you, because without EMS, as you know, it would be very difficult for our communities to function. I got to pick on a couple people as I'm looking at the screen in front of me, the names. I got to pick on particularly two people, Sandy Johnson and Everett Ferguson. I don't think either one of you, to the best of my knowledge, has missed a REMAC meeting in the time that I've been sitting for the REMAC meetings, unless it was the few that I missed. And I don't know how many years you guys have been doing this, and you've never, ever stopped supporting us. So besides thanking everyone, I thank you in particular, because I don't think anyone in the group has been around as both of you guys. And I don't mean that in a bad way, I mean in a good way. So thank you. Bill, you've been around for a while too, little thank you. So moving ahead.
Diane's one of the senior members of the council.
This is true, Diane. I'm looking at all these names, and actually there's a bunch of them that stick out. So yeah, I didn't mean to leave anyone out, but there's a lot of years on this screen in front of me, and thank you. Just think of the number of providers and patients and families that have been affected by the years on this screen. I can't do the math. Not that I do math well anyway. All right, moving ahead here, guys. New York State, going from good to bad. Sorry about that. The bad boy list. So I got to read a few names here. Let's see. First one is Brendan Boose, B-O-O-S-E. Now, mind you, this address is Ladder Road in Rochester, and this is for violations of 800.16A, suspended for 1 year, suspension stayed, probation 3 years, civil penalty of $2,000. So keep in mind, this is a local provider. Joseph Oakes, Edison, New Jersey, suspended 1 year, stayed 3 years probation, $2,000 civil penalty. Gerald Botcher, Boettcher, West Hempstead, New York. He has surrendered his New York State certification. Benjamin Tessmer, Tessmer, Hamburg, New York, to the west of us. Civil penalty of $2,000, probation 3 years, suspended for 1 year, suspension stayed. And Justin Oberek of Elmira, New York, suspended 1 year, suspension stayed, placed on probation 3 years, civil penalty of $2,000. So if any of these people are currently in your agency, please let us know, particularly the Department of Health. If anyone applies, you may want to contact the Department of Health first. All right, I'd like to mention May 20th is Stop the Bleed Day. As you know, this has been a huge push throughout the country, throughout the world, to help lay people control massive bleeding and try to save lives. So please try to promote it within your facilities, within your agencies, outside, urgent cares, public offices, buildings, etc. It's not very expensive to have a Stop the Bleed kit hanging someplace where people can get to it. Educating people is very simple. If you're not a Stop the Bleed instructor, it's a very easy class to do, and you can really help promote this concept. For those of you with EMS agencies or contacted with EMS agencies, you might recall that we had a Finger Lakes REMAC mandate about tourniquets. Please make sure that those tourniquets are available on all of our emergency vehicles. COVID vaccinations, very readily available. Thank you to all the hospitals in the region that have done such a great job of helping to get our providers and the community vaccinated. I think we're doing very good in the Finger Lakes region. However, I am very, very dismayed to say that there's still a lot of our providers that are worried about vaccinations and have not been vaccinated. And I think it puts them and some of our patients at risk. So please promote COVID vaccinations as much as you can. I think it's only a matter of time until at least new hires are required to come in with COVID vaccinations. Some of the larger companies throughout the world have already mandated that for their new hires. Whether or not we can do that for our current hires or not is another question, way above my pay scale. Community paramedicine vaccination program. I think we've got 3 agencies in the region that have already promoted their paperwork and their folks to that level. Guys, if you are thinking about community paramedicine down the road, if you are in a community, you have ALS providers and you think you can do good for your community people as community paramedics, this is a foot in the door. Get your foot in the door while the executive order still allows us to do so. It's just a matter of a couple minutes of training, some paperwork. The approvals have come back from the state very rapidly. And I think this is a foot in the door towards community paramedicine. If we can get our foot in the door and get a little bit more as time goes by, we can start working towards community paramedicine. So seriously think about that, and congratulations to the agencies that have already done that.
Jack, the state goal is actually to have at least one service per county to be approved for community paramedicine. Currently, we are without anybody for Yates County and for Seneca County. We have Finger Lakes Ambulance and Canandaigua Ambulance in Ontario County, and we have Wayne County ALS in Wayne County. So if anybody's in one of the counties that is in need, we'll be more than happy. There's actually a boilerplate template that they have to just go in and change your names and submit it to Mike Bagosi at the state, and he's going through the approval process in literally 24 to 48 hours.
what I hope is that once we get these agencies cleared as vaccinators, we may be able to build on that. The next step may be adding some respiratory component, some minor injury component, things like that. But this is definitely a foot in the door. So let's get that foot in the door while we can.
Jack, there's also a new SEMSCO subcommittee that's starting next week called the EMS Innovation Committee that's going to focus on community paramedicine, focus on ET3 and all of those things. I mentioned to Chair Philippi that I was interested, and he asked me to be chair. So we'll have some representation from this region on that committee as well.
Good, because it must be a double secret committee. I haven't heard anything about it.
They announced it on last week's weekly call, bi-weekly call. So,
Man, there are no minutes for those.
Well, there's unofficial minutes through NICEFERA.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm happy, Jason, that you're representing us, and please keep pushing the community paramedicine program. Like I said, even if we need to, just little steps at a time. We've got the vaccination already covered by the executive order. Let's push for the next little step in the modular plan and keep moving ahead. Excellent. All right, moving ahead. RSI, RSA committee.
Hi. So at the conclusion of this REMAC meeting, we'll be starting our testing. I believe we have 15 or 16 to test today. And Thursday we will have the remainder, which I believe is like 13 or 14. So hopefully by Thursday we should have, a handful of new RSI providers. So the focus of the committee is now going to be, keeping these RSI providers, education and stuff like that, and just refocusing. I think probably we're good for another class, probably for a couple more years. We want to keep the education and the continuing education working with these new providers. Also, the provisional RSI agencies will end June 1st. I do not know of any usages from these agencies. At that time, these agencies can apply for permanent RSI status, and the committee will obviously recommend or not recommend them.
Mike, can you just reinforce who those providers are?
I believe what the provisional.
No, the agencies that are on the provisional right now.
As far as I know, just Fisher's Fire. I don't believe there's any other ones. Fisher's was the only ones that sent an application and that was sent to this body.
Okay.
So that's all I have for RSI. I'll have more. Hopefully I'll have the names. I will submit the names when everyone is passed. I will submit them to John for an email. That can just be an email notification to this body. And then it'll also send them out to the individual agency medical directors for approval.
Great. Thank you very much. Mike, you also going to talk about advanced practice?
Now I'll defer this to John. I know that what we're talking about is the draft refusal form. There's a subcommittee with that. It was sent out today to the body to look at. And John, if you want to go a little bit more in detail on that.
Yeah, so the region has always had for a number of years apparently a refusal form. The goal of this was to revisit that refusal form to see if there was any additions or deletions needed for that form, and to be able to provide a document to agencies as an option if they don't want to use, if they don't have one, or if they need one, specifically the BLSFRs who may be doing refusals. I know in some counties that's a common occurrence. Maybe not so much up here in Ontario County, but we just wanted to have a tool available. So we're open to suggestions. Once we get a completed document, then we will send it off to legal for their 2 cents in it before it goes out for publication.
And if only they charged you 2 cents to review it.
Exactly. But we want to make sure we're not exposing anybody unnecessarily.
After looking over the form, I think it falls in place with other forms that have been accepted, but again, I think having legal look at it is probably the safest thing to do. So hopefully we can have that done within the next few weeks.
The committee actually reviewed about 5 other regions' refusal forms in the process of making this form.
John, is this going to be an either or? We can use it or we can continue using what we have.
Yeah, if your agency has one that you're happy with, you do not need to use ours. But there's some agencies that don't have anything. Like I said, specifically the FR units, and maybe a smaller ambulance service may not. I mean, for years and years, people relied on the back of the PCR. We know how well that was written.
Any further discussion on refusal form? All right, I'd like to thank the committee for their work and hopefully we'll have a finished product fairly soon. Let's move ahead to the Bureau of EMS representatives. I see both are signed in today, which is quite an honor. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, good morning. Actually, I'll let Brian give any report that he may have, but our report is basically, happy EMS week. We thank you for everything that every EMS agency, EMS provider, and anybody that's involved in the system contributes, in the benefit of patient care and quality. So nothing significant on my end. We're trying to get back to some state of normalcy. As you can see, Brian is at one of the vaccine sites still, and our staff are being deployed. So we're trying to get back to somewhat of our routine work that we're supposed to be doing, but we've got a lot to unbury and get through. So thank you again, and we appreciate everything you do.
Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, and I'd just like to add, to everyone that, happy EMS week. And as I sit here at my pod watching people get vaccinated, again, encouraging all EMS providers to get vaccinated. Other than that, hopefully within the next month or two, I will be back in the Finger Lakes area as opposed to the Southern Tier, and able to see you guys and maybe do some meetings in person. So thanks. Have a great EMS week. Bye.
Thanks, Ed and Brian, again. Thank you very much. And you guys will hopefully be able to stick around for a little bit in case we need you as a resource, but hopefully it's going to be a pretty straightforward meeting. Thanks again. Mercy Flight Central, Aaron?
Thanks. I think Tim was on too. He was going to share a couple of things, but we had a great education session last month. We had about 400 registrants, participants from all over the country. So it was great. And we're going to do another one in August, mid to late August. So we're going to try to keep the momentum going with those, and especially offering them remotely. We found the participation's been great. So Tim, did you have anything else you wanted to share?
No, you got it.
Did I grab everything you were going to say? Sorry.
I'm good.
Otherwise, happy EMS week, everybody. And we'll see some of you later.
All right. I apologize for not signing into that session, but I was in parts south of here and
it was warm and
sorry,
yeah,
guys.
yeah, that's okay.
That's we really appreciate
quite
it.
Understandable.
LifeNet Guthrie.
Good morning and happy EMS week to everybody from LifeNet of New York. We continue to have landing zone safety classes scheduled, and please feel free to reach out to us on our Facebook page, Seneca Falls LifeNet 712. And in conjunction with what Jack mentioned earlier about the Stop the Bleed campaign, there are some links on our Facebook page as well to get the lecture portion given remotely through the U of R. And then you can sign up for a skills session on the 20th. We are hosting one of those skill sessions at our location at Seneca Falls, and there's a bunch of other locations you can select too if you need something else, but glad to be partnering with them to get that taken care of and work with everybody for EMS week and Stop the Bleed campaign. And that's it for now.
Thanks, Doug, and thank you to LifeNet for running those sessions. Stop the Bleed can really make a difference in certain people's lives. So, thank you. All right, moving ahead to Finger Lakes Ambulance.
Pretty quiet. Had a decent call yesterday. It went very well. And that's really about it. Happy EMS week.
All right, yeah, there was a pretty significant call in Palmyra yesterday, and it showed pretty good work amongst the various agencies there. So everyone got along well, and I didn't have to separate anyone from fighting. There was no bloodshed on the part of any of the providers. So what more can you say? It was a good run. All right, moving ahead. Thompson Health.
Sure. Happy EMS week, everyone. Not really much to report. Our volume has been pretty significant recently. I'm sure everyone probably on this call has been experiencing a similar thing, but we're in the process actually surge planning within our system. The other thing I would mention is that we've been, actually Nancy's been working hard on improving or updating our services flyer. Somehow it got hung up on in my inbox, but we'll be getting that out to you very shortly. And then the last thing is just another plug for the June 10th educational experience. Mike Privatera is a renowned psychiatrist who's known for his work out with provider and physician burnout and associated human factors and healthcare delivery. So I've seen him speak before, kind of more specifically to physician burnout, but he's very informative, enlightening. So I think people will get a lot from that session.
Thanks, Matt. That sounds like a great topic. Any way you think he would allow it to be taped so we could save it for people who can't attend?
It's CME that's offered through the university, and I think that they very frequently do record the sessions, but we can investigate that, of course.
I'll be recording it. I record all of the grand rounds, so we can get that out to people too.
That'd be great, because especially always it's important to talk about burnout amongst providers, but I think the last few months even more so, and what a perfect time for that topic. So thank you.
Well, John had offered a few suggestions too, that because Dr. Privatera had said, gee, do they have anything specific they'd like to talk about? And John gave some suggestions, and one of them was I thought was great, being aware of your partnerships and the people that you're working with, and taking care of each other, which I thought was a great idea to kind of delve into a little bit.
Perfect. Thank you. Very good. Okay, Clifton Springs. I think I saw Dr. Cullinan.
Hey, good morning. We, as far as Clifton goes, we have started some construction in regards to the new ED project. No changes yet in traffic pattern, but they'll be coming in the next couple months. So just keep an eye out for that communication when we get it. At the moment, the loading dock is under construction, so there is some increased traffic around that area at the moment. You may see some trucks backed up, et cetera, on that way. That said, there should always be an opening for you to get around. So if any issues or anything like that, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, and we can, get that remedied very quickly. But we'll otherwise keep get that communication out when we have that plan finalized and ready to move forward. Thanks.
Thank you. Finger Lakes Health.
Good morning, everyone. Number one, happy EMS week. Number two, I'm very jealous of Dr. Osborne's office with the nice view and skeleton in the background as I sit in my what feels like a closet. So not much else going on other than echoing. Volumes definitely are up. I think we all have seen as the weather is turning, more trauma. So once again, thank you everybody for everything that you all do.
Matt, thank you. Dr. Osborne, can you take a picture of that and send it to Dr. Talbot so he can use it as a Zoom background?
Better yet, if he wants to move into this office, it's all his.
No.
All right. Last but not least, Newark Wayne, who's here?
Morning, Tyler. I'm happy to take it. Thanks everybody for all your work, the other 51 weeks of the year as well. I'll touch briefly on a conversation. We had a nice conversation with Finger Lakes about some patient destination discussions that we've been having. And I think this is a reasonable forum to kind of discuss that a little bit further. But basically the outcome of that, so that all the other agencies in the region are aware, was that we're hoping to kind of return towards the demissed patient report that the REMAC had sent out a couple of years ago, and sort of on our side to focus on making sure that we're, accepting trauma patients that meet, that don't meet the trauma transfer criteria. So kind of using that as a place to start the discussion around making sure that the right patients are getting to the right hospitals. Certainly happy to talk about that more with any other agencies, but that's where we're going to start, and hopefully that will make things easier on the pre-hospital side. Otherwise, same volume concerns as everybody else, and please stay safe. I've seen plenty of vaccine failure, so take care of yourselves.
Very good. Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, I think that discussion is long overdue. We do have obviously criteria for STEMI, for stroke, for trauma. Their recommendations, and they don't always fit in this region, black and white. So we do need to work to try and make it best for our patients, our providers, and our agencies and our hospitals. So I look forward to more of those discussions. Thank you. As far as old business, Jason, have you heard any updates as far as the nitroglycerin packaging? Or maybe Brian or Ed, if any has heard any updates?
I haven't heard anything, Dr. Davidoff, but I'm sure we might hear progress or lack thereof next week, hopefully.
All right. So we'll continue to table the nitroglycerin because I think I would love to have a nitroglycerin protocol in the region, but we need to get past the packaging. All right. New business, quasi-old business, the SCT standards rollout. We have a new set of SCT protocols that are complete and ready to be rolled out. Do we have an update on when that might start?
Brian is not on the call here. Him and as well as Eric Decker from Canada. Well, we're heading that up.
Eric Dirks?
Nope, Eric Decker.
Oh, okay.
And I know Brian created an attestation form for the protocol review, and I've got that, but I haven't seen anything else yet.
All right. Hopefully in the next few weeks, we can get that started, and maybe by the end of the summer, have those SCT protocols up and running. Let's try to use that as our goal. Is that reasonable, John?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You think it's reasonable to think we can get the rollout going in the next few weeks, and maybe by late summer have the SCT protocols in place and operational?
I mean, I can't imagine that there's the training component will take that long once we have a program in hand.
It also took SEMSCO 6 years to figure out what hypoglycemia was. So stranger things have happened in EMS. All right. We've already talked about the refusal form. Does anyone sitting in today have anything else they'd like to add or discuss?
Jack, just one further thing. New York State Bureau has sent out, and I sent that out as an email blast yesterday. The protocol app that has been officially sent out and acknowledged. It's called Muru.
M-U-R-U.
Yeah, Muru Med. If you're looking for the link, you have to register for an account online and select your service, and then it'll pull up the regional protocols and link to policy statements and a bunch of other documents.
I actually, it took me a little while to get it set up. It finally did set up. It's quite good. The only problem I'm seeing with it so far is it doesn't appear to have the med control phone numbers in as the rest of the protocols do. It's got the ED phone numbers, but not the med control numbers. I don't know if that's something that could be updated down the road or not. Ed or Brian, are either one of you familiar with that?
Jack, I will certainly pass that along if, and have them look into the medical control numbers.
Also, hey, John, this is Brian. I worked with them a little bit when we first started looking at that, and they're very receptive to adding things and updating things. So if the med control numbers are something that you want in there for regionally, that should not be an issue. They should be able to add it into your regions section. They just need to know what they are and be advised of it.
Okay.
So those numbers were in the original, I believe they were in the collaborative protocols, and they were in the other app that everyone used. It was a private app that someone was utilizing, and it allowed you to call Med Control direct off of your phone using that. And I see in the Muro, they do have the hospital phone numbers, but I think they're just the ED numbers. I don't think, yeah, they're the non-emergency numbers. It'd be really nice, I think, to have those Med Control numbers in there. Would save people a lot of problems.
Brian, do you have a contact number for that individual? Or an email? Or should I get a hold of Ryan?
I probably do. I will let you know. I don't have it written in front of me right now.
Okay.
But I'll get you some information one way or the other.
And I would recommend to each of the hospitals, please look up your listing and make sure it's what you want listed as far as care levels, et cetera. And if you have any concerns, probably pass them along to John, and John can put together a packet and send it on. We can get that updated. John, you okay with that?
Yep.
All right. Any other items, discussion, comments, or other? Going around once, going around twice. Those of you that are working on RSI, we'll see you at Mercy Flight approximately 11 o'clock this morning. Don't forget to do your pre-admission COVID questionnaire and send that on to them. And Aaron, anything special that you need from us as we come onto the property?
No, I don't think so. If someone's not able to do the link, the pre-screening link, just let us know. We can do it when they get here. But otherwise, we'll see everybody shortly. Just come in the normal side door, not the front door, I guess, would be the side in the parking lot, because we'll be out in the hangar.
Sounds good.
One thing,
All
Jack,
right.
for the group is last weekend, I had the opportunity to attend the initial assessment conference that was relocated this year to Glens Falls. It was in person. It was wonderful. It was either you had proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test 72 hours prior, or they were doing COVID testing on site as well for anybody who didn't have a test or who became symptomatic. And the education was wonderful. It was great to see people. It was great to see my friends. And it was a nod that I think we can kind of start returning to normal with that. I took some notes in case we still have some stuff to worry about in February. Hopefully we don't. But in-person conferences are a thing. They happen, they work. So it was a blast.
Jack, on one final note, just want to welcome Ryan Bailey, who is the new Yates County EMS coordinator. He's joining us today for the first time.
Well, welcome. Look forward to seeing you over the next meetings, years, et cetera. Ryan, anything you'd like to add?
Not really. Still trying to get used to my job and update a lot of stuff here. So that's what I'm working on.
All right. Good luck with it. All right, folks. If nothing else, we'll adjourn. Those of us doing RSI will meet over at Mercy Flight. Everyone have a very safe summer. Remember, COVID is not gone. Please be safe, and we'll see you all in a few months. Take care.